Evening, everyone.
So here we are, yeah. Anyone here? Oh, there we go. It's a few people. That's nice.
Yeah, quite a few. Yeah, all right.
My head looks far too big on this screen.
No, it's not unusual.
A huge head.
Now look at that.
Okay, well, actually, do you know what? I've brought a little tiny bottle of Prosecco that I found in the fridge, which I'm going to have just as a celebration.
Well, you know, before we kick off the momentous celebratory toasts and whatnot, I've got to tell you about the special snack that I just happened to run into in the shop yesterday, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Here, so you know,
was it one of these? It wasn't a caramel log, no.
That's just, I don't know what that is, and I don't want to know. It is, as some people know, it's Hanami season here, Sakura cherry blossom season. So I was in the Sogo department store in the Depa Chica, the food hall at the bottom. And Philip, it's as if they knew that I was back and ready, because the lady at this massive import cheese counter just starts shouting out as I walk by, Guinness cheese. And I was like,
What's
that? And sure enough, 1,300 yen a pack of cheddar cheese from the UK, made with Guinness beer. So absolutely delicious. And
made by Guinness?
No, it's made with Guinness. I don't know if it's made by them, but
that sounds more like it. Yeah.
But it's got the full mark on it, the sticker, and it's, you know, product of the UK. So I was extremely excited about that. So, and it is delicious. So that plus a couple pints of Guinness to celebrate. So 10 years, man. Happy 10th birthday.
10 years, yeah. Should we toast it?
Absolutely.
Try to get this microphone out. It's hiding my beautiful face. Hang on. Right, cheers. Here we go. 10 years. It's quite early. It's only 1 o'clock for me, but sure.
Well, you're already back.
Who would have thought it, eh?
You're already back from church, so you're okay.
That's it, yeah. 2015 to 2025. If you've joined us, thank you so much. If you're listening after the fact or watching after the fact, thank you so much. When we started in 2015... we never imagined we'd still be going in 2025, and we are still going, as you probably know if you're here or you're watching or listening at a later date. What a journey, what an adventure it's been.
You know, it's funny, Philip. Remember we were talking offline a little bit that first day when we went to our beloved Chokuritsu Engine, Pithecanthropus erectus in Kamata, and we couldn't get in. They weren't open yet, or the time was wrong, or whatever. And we had a beer at some sort of gaijin pub down the road, down Bourbon Road. And I vividly remembered, because I asked you for your wisdom as a career educator, what you thought about international schools, because I was thinking about putting my son, you know, to go to the finish elementary school, go to junior high. And 10 years later, I've been spending my weeknights recently researching colleges with him. And it's just sort of like, oh, okay, yeah, that really kicked in. It has been 10 years. As you said, that's why we've aged so much and spent so much money. But I can't believe it that like now it's moved on to that. I'm researching universities with him. So yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. Well, it's funny you should say 2015. So I thought, you know, it'd be interesting if I go in to the wonders of digital archives and check out what's in my first ever email address, which is was a Yahoo Mail. It's the first email I ever had. I must have made it when I went to Japan, I presume. I found I found our first ever communication.
No,
I thought
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I know. I think I know what this is. So
I thought it'd be quite interesting to share it with you. So let me just start with a couple. So this is from let's see. This is Wednesday, the 7th of January, 2025. Right. So the previous email, which actually
2015.
Oh yeah, sorry, 2015.
The wine's already gone to your head.
So, That's a spicy prosecco. No, so the previous email is 2013. It says I had invited you to one of my exhibitions, and you gave me a rather cursory brush off. Thanks for the invite, but stuck at home tonight. Congrats on the show. Look forward to the next one. No attempt to try and get to it at a later date or anything like that. But that was 2013, right? So then 5 years later, Wednesday, January the 7th, 2015. Hi, James. Long time. Hope you're well. I was just looking at your Instagram and had an idea for a possible collaboration we could work on documenting the Tokyo Jazz bars. If you're interested, let me know and maybe we can meet for a drink and a chat. That's where it all began.
It's amazing. But now I must,
it's wild,
but
right?
I must protest because I did attend your swing dancer exhibition, and not only did I attend that, but
it wasn't swing dancers, so you probably didn't attend it because it was actually jazz dancers.
You did not tell me that it was in a basement gallery in Shimokitazawa, and I showed up with a gigantic stroller, baby car, as they say here, which I had to carry down the steps into this little gallery. But again, speaking of time, that would have been my daughter, who I guess she would have been 1 at that time, 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So, and that was in Shimokita. And I think that's actually probably the first time we talked a little more in depth. I mean, we mentioned on the podcast, and people who listen know, we had a lot of mutual friends, and we went to so many of the same gigs and same sort of like music events. But probably, I was probably put off talking to you because of your hair, to be honest. I would have thought, this guy's a bit, I don't know, man. It's just too much gel for me.
And probably just general good looks. I'm often told that's quite intimidating.
It's just like, I don't know, man. It's that whole rockabilly thing. It's just, it's not my vibe. But yeah, we definitely had a lot of mutual friends. But I think that was the first time we talked a bit more. Was at that show, and then it was only a little bit after that you pitched the idea to us. Shout out to our good friend in India, by the way, for joining, and shout out to ECM Dan. Dan, hook up with you soon, man. Thanks for coming by.
And I see Hey 220 there, who is the partner of our dear friend Ishizaki-san in Pithecanthropus erectus, a man whose image is all around the world on the cover of the Tokyo Jazz Joints book. So huge thanks to them.
But Chad's in from North Carolina too. I know it's early in the morning. Thanks for coming by, Chad. That's great. It's like 8 o'clock.
Yeah, and thanks to all of you for the congratulations. If you just joined us, you'll have missed that first email that I've been digging through my original email account on Yahoo.com many moons ago, and I found a few rather, I would say less than enthusiastic replies from James. Anyway, this is the next one. So we jump ahead. Let me just see. So this was the 7th of January. No response until the 29th, which really tells a story. But it does say, "Hi, Philip. What's your schedule like in the next couple of weeks? Let's find a good time to chat about your ideas. I saw on your Instagram you already got some pics up from a few joints," to which I replied, "Hi, James. I just had it in my head to email you today." I always say that to people when I haven't mailed them. I'm keen to meet up whenever suits. What about midweek next week? So that was 29th of January. And then this is followed quite quickly by a series of emails which go back and forward. But basically, and I don't know if you remember this. So what you actually suggested was, so it says February 4th, are you free early Friday? I finish at 5, so can Zoom anywhere. I was thinking maybe to head to JBS for a quick drink. Now, in my head, I actually thought it was 2014 that we had met, and then it kind of drifted till 2015. But actually, we met in February at JBS to chat about the project, and that's where I famously left quite crestfallen because I thought he's not really into this idea as much as I am.
That's it's funny you often said that. I think it's because probably at that time, I think it's when I just moved to Yokohama. But I've been doing a little bit of work. Remember, all the jazz stuff that I had done, like with my website before we started the project, was all just, for fun, basically, or some part-time jobs of people visiting, shooting, TV series or whatever. And so I think at that point I was probably just considering like, oh, you know what? I don't really want to do anything. You know what I mean? Like kids are too loud, too young, don't have any money, blah, 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 blah. So it's probably why I came off that way. But in fact, I had been
also waiting. You're an asshole.
I had been completely, okay, it is Sunday. Remember, keep let's keep it holy. I was thinking that, it was perfect because I had done my website by that point for about 7 years. all the photographs I took were from a flip phone. I didn't even have a smartphone for many years. You know what I mean? So you actually said to me, I think you said at JBS, you're like, you've got all this great information here. You've been to so many places, but why are the photos so bad? I was like, because I'm not a fucking photographer, man. You know what I mean? I'm taking on my flip phone.
Doesn't sound like something I'd say, but anyway, so we met at JBS, and I don't know, do you remember then actually, and again, I had completely forgotten about this, because obviously anyone who's ever listened to the podcast knows that we ended up, or if you've read the essay at the start of the book, you'll know that the first place we went was Pithecanthropus erectus, and that was one of the reasons, at least, for deciding to have it on the cover of the slipcase of the book as well. But actually, that wasn't the first place you suggested. Do you remember where it was?
Oh gosh, no, I don't remember, man. Are you sure? I'm sure I would have. I would have recommended Pithecanthropus first, because that was the one that I was most concerned about closing. No.
Okay, I mean, you can't argue with Yahoo Mail from 2015. I'm sorry.
God, you should be working for ICE or something with your damn documentation here. This is terrifying.
Yeah. So, what do you think? I mean, it's actually quite obvious when you sort of say it. So here,
here we go. If I had just moved to Yokohama, then it probably would have been Downbeat or Minton House. No.
No, it was actually Aga Khan.
Oh, it was Aga Khan. Okay.
Tumbleweeds.
Makes perfect sense.
And then I think I must have gone, so there's some mysterious reference to Laos. So I must have gone on holiday to Laos. It says, hello, hey, Philip, the pics from Laos look great. Look forward to hearing about your trip. This is 23rd of February, 2015. For this Friday, can we have a slight change of plans? My friend Soul Jazz Izakaya is closing down on the 28th, and several people will be going this Friday to say farewell. Would you be up for heading there and saving Aga Khan for the next week? Eddie's Lounge, not the most atmospheric joint, sorry, Eddie, but some nice pics possible. Live groovy jazz as well. Shame, yet another place vanishing, James. So that's where we went instead of Aga Khan, which was actually meant to be the first place to go.
Amazing. And that's so funny because Eddie's back in Philadelphia now. Eddie Landsberg, unbelievable Hammond organ player, comes out of the Philly soul jazz scene, so he's got the roots. And he opened this joint there in I think it's in Nipuri. And it was an old snack bar that he found, and he sort of took it over. He kept like the old red velvet sofas. It was perfect. And, he got his organ in there, and he had some good musicians. But as we know, being skilled as a musician doesn't necessarily mean you're skilled as a business person. So there was difficulty for him, and he had to close within about, I think, a year and a half, or within maybe about 2 years. But yeah, I remember we went that night. It was, and I remember I didn't recognize you at first because I think you came in wearing glasses, and you were kind of like, hello, and I probably had already been drinking a bit, so I remember thinking,
yeah, well, actually, there is a reference to that, but that was an amazing night. I remember being, I think, wow, I'm a big fan of the Hammond organ too, so I just thought, wow, this is like, it was incredible, but it wasn't like obviously a jazz kisa, and I did photograph some stuff on my phone. I think I took a few videos and stuff, which I might try and dig out for the Instagram feed. But then, so actually, we're meant to go to Aga Khan. We ended up at Eddie's, and then we're getting closer now to March. So Thursday, 5th of March, 2015, I have this thing here saying, hey, Philip, good seeing you on Friday. So this is a reference to Eddie's. Always fun at Eddie's. Shame he couldn't keep it going. Those last 2 cans of Hapboshu left my head a mess in the morning. In fact, you've written omringning, so you even it was obviously still kicking in. Let me know your travel dates again. I forgot when you said we'd be abroad. And here we go. Then we can get started with some planning. The place Miyagi-san mentioned in Kamata might be a good one to start with. I know the owner there is older now and not in the best of health. So that was the first time then that we hit on the whole idea of Pithecanthropus.
Amazing. Right? Well, so there you go. Again, not to harp, but how long ago 10 years was. But the fact that I even drank 1 can of Hapboshu is pretty terrifying because I wouldn't go
I was quite surprised by that myself. Yeah.
Well, I think, no, like, you know what happened? Foggy, but I think that because he was closing, it was crowded and we drank out the stock. And then people just started bringing bags of like stuff from the convenience store, you know what I mean? just drinking cans or whatever. Because normally, why would you order a Hapboshu in a bar? But yeah, wow, yeah, that was great. So that's how. That's how we ended up going to. That's how we ended up going to Pithecanthropus first. Then, okay, which was a couple weeks later, and that was in March, and that's right because that was just a month after I had launched. I launched my own podcast, my OK Jazz podcast, after getting settled in, after moving down to Yokohama the year previously. And then when my radio show ended, I'd started the new podcast. And I remember, I think you actually, Doug, that was probably still the only episode you've ever actually listened to, was I think episode 3, because you used one of the songs, one of the song titles as a thing for like our website one of the old website passwords, I remember. But that was also 10 years ago.
Don't give away passwords on Instagram Live. I mean, it sort of also ends with me rather obviously quite irritated already, where just the last email in that chain just says, "Hi James, is there a number I can get you on?" So I don't know if you were trying to pull away at that point, or you were just trying to keep it very much professional on Yahoo Mail. You were on Gmail by this time, so as ever, you're the tech pioneer. But anyway, so Monday 16th of March, then we're almost there, right? So as my email says, basically I'm away from Wednesday this week, and from then on I'm back in Tokyo until the summer. From Friday the 27th, I'm off work for 2 whole weeks. So I was hoping to be able to finally take some pictures properly. Could we coordinate for that Friday, maybe the place in Kamata? And so that's when we landed on the 27th of March, which was 2015. So that's sort of always burned in my brain as the date. And actually, the final email I have is on the 27th of March. I mean, ever the keener, I emailed you at 8:39. What a dork. So we must have left reasonably early that evening, because I know we went quite early, right? And we couldn't, we obviously couldn't get in, right? Because the shutter was down.
Well, yeah. I mean, remember, like I think the plan was, and the idea was, because every time I went to check a new place I hadn't been before, I always tried to get there right before they opened so I could talk to the owner. You know what I mean? Because it's just difficult once people are so I think I told you, I was like, look, we should get down there to Kamata at like 5:40. To be right there when he's there.
Yeah.
But, that's, our man, he sucks on, he's sometimes there early, sometimes there a few minutes late or whatever. But I think that night, maybe he just happened to be running quite a bit late. So it was more like 6:37 even by the time we got in. I'm not sure. I'm sure you've got your dorky ass timestamps on your phone.
It can't have been that late. It must have been more like 6, or we must have gone back after 6, because 8:39 is already home. It says, thanks for tonight. Cracking feeling to get started on the project at last. So, so I mean, that was it, right? And I'm so pleased that we still. It's so nice having that access to that, like to be able to sort of look back on those dates, even because it obviously gets a bit hazier the older you get. And then, if you listen to the podcast, you'll know that. I was in lockdown in Dublin, and James was in a sort of as much as a lockdown that Japan ever had in Yokohama. And I thought it would be nice to mark the 5th anniversary. I love an anniversary. So like on the 27th of March, we did what became the podcast, but it was kind of the first, it was the first episode of the podcast. And we thought, right, well, look, we'll just do this. And then we kind of I think as much as anything, not other people enjoying it, but like we enjoyed obviously just like chatting to each other, right, remotely, and particularly because there was no way to travel, for me at least, to travel to Japan. So it kind of became this way to live vicariously slightly, and certainly remember all these places that we'd been. And
well,
here we are,
like
82
we said,
episodes in, right?
Like we said on the podcast, I mean, we didn't know. We didn't know what the hell's going on. Like we get, and knowing Japan, I mean, Japan was closed a lot longer than other countries, not surprisingly. But we didn't know when you were going to be able to make it back. So it was sort of like, okay, maybe if that's the project, if that's what we did. Okay, we'll wrap it up by doing this reminiscence on a podcast, not knowing that people would actually enjoy it, and then eventually we'd continue when you came back. But no. But I going back a second to that night at the first night in PE, it was really great because Philip, I can't remember now, but I don't know how many really, really old divey places you had been to before that, which is one reason I think I had recommended Eigakan and PE, because I was like, okay, these are two of the really old classic joints, so I don't know if you'd been there before. I hadn't been.
The only place, and it's funny when you think back, like the first year I think I was in Yokohama, because I moved to Yokohama initially, and and then I moved to Tokyo after, I think within the first year that I was living there, or certainly after the summer, so like just after 1 year. But actually thinking back, I have a memory of going with my girlfriend at the time to Chigusa, and it was the original Chigusa, or at least the Chigusa that is the one that was before the one that's in the Tokyo Jazz Joints book, and it was a smaller place. So I had been there, and I'd been to a couple of other places, notably Hello Dolly, I think in 2014, which is where I think this. I still think this is where kind of the seed of this whole project was.
Hello Dolly in Kyoto.
Yeah, and I remember thinking to myself, this would be really interesting to photograph these places. You know, there's nothing really like them, and I think that's where it was definitely planted in Hello Dolly, I think. So, but until then, no. So, you know, to start with Pithecanthropus erectus, because I often wonder as well, like if we'd ended up somewhere like just as nice in a different way, but not as divey, you know, a little bit more sort of slick and smooth, you know, would it had the same impact on me in terms of photographs? And would I have thought, oh, you know, I've got to keep going here? Or, you know, would it have been sort of like just more of a curiosity, you know, and to kind of, you know, putting aside like being into music or anything like that, I just think, you know, would I have kind of thought, well, yeah, I mean, these are interesting, but I think my biggest...
That's definitely one reason I wanted to do that. At least, if not first, one of the first ones, because everything about Pithecanthropus, like the walk up Bourbon Road in Kamata, which who knows Kamata, and then that rickety building that it's in, the steep, narrow steps, you know what I mean? Everything about it when you walk in is just so immediately memorable. And I mean, I've taken a lot of people there, and everybody's had the same reactions. Like, how can a place like this still exist? You know, in Tokyo, like supposedly everybody has that image of Tokyo, one of the world's most modern cities. And it's like, well, it is very modern in a lot of ways, but not when you're out drinking, because most of the places are like this, you know? And especially a lot of jazz places. So you just have that sense of when you walk in right away, you're like, oh my God, this is not, I cannot believe it. This is still a functioning bar that people go out of their way to come to, you know? God, you know, I haven't been for months, actually, now that I'm back in Japan. I might have to... I meant to go this week, actually, and just send you some pictures to make you jealous, but I didn't make it. So maybe this next weekend I'll go down there. It's been
maybe
a while.
May as well, like we try and get there. But yeah, I mean, like just to bring it up to 2025, I mean, it's been incredible, right? And you know, thanks to, if you're watching this either now or later, thanks to all of you. Like I say this a lot on the podcast. I say it, you know, when I'm speaking anywhere and stuff, and it never means any less. And I never mean it any less, but you know, we're just so incredibly grateful, and it only really works and has had such a great impact and success because, you know, people are so encouraging, enthusiastic, and we get such lovely messages and feedback from people. And thanks to all of you. I mean, you know, thanks to the carer.
all around the world. That's what really amazes me because, you know, we could have done the project and gotten the book out and sold the book in the UK and Ireland and Western Europe and States, you know, even a little bit of Japan, and been very happy about that. But to find the love, the interest, the absolute like dedication to Jazzkeeser culture from a lot of, I mean, Philippa, we talked about it, met people from Philippines, from Turkey, you know, who are into it. We've got people following us from India, Brazil.
Yeah.
And we're all around the world got people that are jazz fans and that are jazz fans who either have experienced the Jazzkeeser or would really love to by seeing the project, you know? That's made me just think of how more and more like, yeah, jazz is a world music, and there's this great appreciation for it. And the fact that we, look, you know, we're not the only ones, but, you know, pat ourselves on the back a little bit. We've done a good job, you know, like our project has brought this world to a lot of different people. So I'm super, you know, super appreciative of all the love that they've given us. And I mean, look, you know, 10 years is a good amount of time, but I mean, I'm not going anywhere. I've got another 10 years in me. So you just got to keep getting back here, man. You keep getting back here. We continue.
Would you say you have 10 years in you? I don't know.
Hey, listen, Guinness is good. Guinness is good for you. What are you talking about? You're Irish.
It's more the Guinness cheese I was concerned about. But yeah, I mean, look, you know, thank you particularly, obviously, to Carer Verlag, who have been fundamental in, you know, giving me a contract to put the book out and, you know, even shipping the books. Like I shipped nearly I think to over 60 countries from my house in Belfast originally, to all the people who supported the Kickstarter, obviously. Sega and Sha, who are, if you don't already know, putting out a Japanese version of the book in July in Japan. And just, the support's just been overwhelming. So thank you. We wanted to mark the 10th anniversary. So I've knocked together a little bit of merch. And if you haven't already seen that on the website, you can go to tokyojazzjoints.com/store, STORE. You can find that on the website. And
the website? The website's still up. It's still functioning.
Yeah, very good. And I'll post. Actually, it's had a complete overhaul. So I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, you've obviously not looked, but it'll go up on Instagram as well. But we got some 10th anniversary T-shirts there with a logo that I put together. We've got some really nice posters. So if you haven't got any prints from the project, A3 posters, 10 different images as a selection from the book, and also then there's a set of 10 postcards. And if you're mad enough to want to come on to the podcast as a guest to chat about your favorite jazz keys in Japan or your favorite episode of the podcast or whatever it might be, there's about 10 spots as well to come join those too. So by all means, please have a look at tokyojazzjoints.com/store, can't spell that, STORE, or just have a look on Instagram and you'll find all the links there to the order form. Everything's a bit limited, so there isn't unlimited amounts of everything. So if you are after one of those things, get on there and get your order form in, and I'll be in touch with like payment details and all that stuff in future. But yeah, just a way to mark these 10 years. And who knows? I mean, will we be doing 20th anniversary merch? I mean, I'm hoping not, but no, I'm only joking.
Well, look, I mean, if those nifty T-shirts keep coming, I've got one, and I don't actually wear it outside the house. A little bit shy about wearing a T-shirt with my own figure on the back, but not that.
It's a version of your figure. I wouldn't say. Is it? I mean, is it instantly recognizable as you? I don't know. Maybe
slightly more recognizable than my Sir Bobby Hutcherson T-shirt.
Yeah, well, that's fair. That's fair. Anyway,
but no, that's great. I mean, and we've got we'll be talking about this, when you get here on the next trip. But we've got, like you said, we've got Japanese edition coming out. And I guess we can, start making some plans for Volume 2. There's been a little bit of chat about that, right? So nothing solid yet, but there's still a lot of places to go. And Philip, though, I'm really, really eager, though, because you are going to be visiting a place, not to jump too far ahead with spoilers, but you're going to be visiting a place on your next trip way down south. And I believe it's the southernmost point of Japan. Is that correct, in Ishigaki?
Is there somewhere more southern? I don't know. Possibly one of the other islands.
I think it's the same because it's actually only about 50 kilometers from Taiwan, so it has to be like one of the most. But there's that place I've not been to yet, and then the flip side is a place way at the top of Hokkaido, in Wakkanai City, which is the northernmost part of Japan. It's the Tomoe Cafe, which used to be a jazz kisa proper, and now is sort of like it's just a regular kisaten, right, for coffee. But apparently the new owners still kept all the jazz posters and magazines. They just left it there, even though they're not playing jazz. So I was thinking, like, okay, still worth a visit. I know our good friend Jerome, I think, went there, and he said, like, if you get up there, it's really hard, but you should go there. So I'm thinking maybe what we should try to combine is, you get to the southernmost place, I get to the northernmost place. I mean, obviously better if we can go together, but sometimes, me being here, I get to go around a bit more easily. But I think there's something nice to do that, and I've never been to that part of Hokkaido before. I mean, it's way, way up there towards Russia. So I think that would be really cool if we could actually say to people, look, not only have we traveled all around Japan, but we've literally been to the most northern and southern points. And in both points, there's a jazz kisa, which just shows you what you need to know about Japan and their love of jazz, Well,
it could be the perfect foil for a 20th anniversary road trip sponsored by Guinness, Writer's Tears, Slow Love, Tonic's Caramel Log.
Sorry, Slow Love. Is that the Grandad sweater you're wearing? Is it the brand?
I don't think they'll thank you for that comment. And any other brands that want to sponsor us, because famously, absolutely no one has done that yet. And why would you? Because it's ultimately just two old fellas talking about their adventures visiting dusty Japanese jazz cafes. But it's brought us a friendship, James. It's brought us together from those slightly awkward and terse emails in 2015. It's brought us to 2025. So in the spirit of just marking that, look, cheers, kampai.
Salud, Slanja.
And here is to another 10 years. Thanks to everyone who joined us. Thanks if you're watching back or listening back. We'll still be here. We'll still be putting out some stuff. Thank you in advance for your ongoing support and encouragement. We love you all. And yours and jazz, all the best.
Yep, keep jazzing. And don't forget, buy physical copies of the music you like. Support the artists. Go see live music. Put up 2 middle fingers to Spotify. And we love you. Take it easy, brother. Salud.
See you later.